Hello, all meditators, young and old, present and future. My name is Lauren, and welcome back to the Holistic Fit Meditation channel, where I am talking about how to meditate and how to incorporate meditation into your everyday life. In this video, I'm going to talk about my experience, how I got into meditation and what that experience was like for me, because I got a comment on, I believe, my last video of one of you all asking me how did I actually get into meditation and how did I start, like how did I find out about meditation and what it actually was for myself. And it was actually a very spiritual experience for me, and it was somewhat unintentional how I got into meditation. It just so happened that the opportunity presented itself for me to be in a place to hear very clearly what I need to do in order to progress along and honestly become more aware of my spiritual journey. So on this channel, I have a non-dogmatic approach to meditation, or just in general, I have a non-dogmatic approach to teaching meditation as well, because I believe that it's for anybody, regardless of what spiritual practice, religion, faith, non-religion, whatever you believe in or practice. Meditation is for everyone. And I highly believe that if you practice one thing, then meditation will actually, if anything, help you strengthen whatever you believe in, more so find out what that is for yourself. So if you like the content or like the idea of learning how to meditate, and if you like me, then what's that word? I urge you to subscribe to the channel and also give this video a like, thumbs up. And I love hearing requests from my audience. So let me know what you would want to see me do a video on about meditation specifically, and I'll deliver for you. So the question, how did I get into meditation? So back in 2020, when the pandemic started back in March, I was in my junior year of high school, and I was in my junior year of college. And at that time, we had to come home from college, move all of our stuff out of our dorms and come back home. And I was at home, and when I was at home, well, that was more so around May of 2020, April or May, I realized that I had little to no obligations of what to do. I had a lot less obligations than I did before when I was in school. When I was in school, I, of course, was taking a lot of classes. Junior year, I feel like, is the most rigorous year for you in college, just because you're really getting into your major and you're really figuring out what's after college. So there was a lot on my mind. I also had a social group that I hung out with all the time, hung out with roommates, friends. I always had something to do in college. Not to mention, I had a part-time job working at a shoe store at the mall. So I had a very rigorous social life. And I also was involved in a couple clubs. I was in the university choir at school. So really, in America, you get really into the hustle and bustle of life, school, work, job, social life, whatever it is. I feel like you always have something to distract you from just distractions. You can always fill your space with doing something. So it was a huge difference between me being in college and then me having to come home. Now I am blessed to have a very warm, loving home environment, very loving and nurtured growing up in my home. And so it was no problem with me being home in my family environment. The only thing was, I guess I was bored. Like, there wasn't much to do. So at home, I started to take some time out of my day to just embrace silence. I started to take some time out of my day to notice how inviting and calming just being in silence is. Because when you are engulfed in all that life has, if you're always going, you can sometimes get like sort of addicted in a way to stressing yourself out. And I realized that I was engulfed in the stress and the overworking of my life in college because I had so much going on. And I thought that's what I really wanted to get back to. Like when I first got home in maybe March or April of 2020, I really missed that environment of being in college. But the longer I was home and the more I realized that, wow, hold up, I don't have any obligations right now. This is actually a blessing. I don't have to go to work. School shut down. I'm still taking classes online, but they're kind of wacky with that, that whole Zoom thing. Everybody was falling asleep. You didn't really have to have your camera on. So meanwhile, I could just be, what I'm saying, knocked. And weren't really working. So I found peace and stillness simply being in my room. And in that, I had more opportunities to listen. For me, is listen to God. I am a huge prayer. Now I'm a huge meditator. But when you like grow up in any religion, whatever religion, you probably learned how to pray in a certain way. And so there became a point in time where I realized that your relationship with God, if you do practice religion or spirituality, your relationship with God or whoever your higher power is or whatever that is, it's a two-way street. Like, so when you have a conversation with somebody, like say family, friend, you're not doing all the talking, are you? I hope not, because if you are, there's not really much being learned from that conversation. A conversation is a two-way street. So yeah, you can, in a conversation, you can talk, you can ask questions, but then at some point or another, you have to be on the receiving end and you have to listen to what the other person is saying, and not really listen in order to respond to what they're saying, but you have to listen in order to get the information and the wisdom that the other person is saying to you. Because every person you come across with, every person that you talk to, they have actually something valuable to contribute in their life. That's why they're there. So I realized that with my spirituality, I needed to listen more. So there was one time where I was just in my room. I think classes had already ended for the day, and it was probably the middle of the day, probably like 4 p.m. And I was having one of my moments of silence. This was before I started meditating. And it was just simply, I had a routine of embracing silence, just walking around my room, not having no music on, not playing music in the shower. And I just, for some reason, something told me to sit down in the corner of my room where my laundry basket was. And all of a sudden, as soon as I took a seat, I started getting what I didn't know then, but I know now, was spiritual downloads. I just started receiving a whole lot of wisdom, information, and I felt an overwhelming feeling of comfort and love and joy, simply sitting in silence and receiving this new information and wisdom that was being poured into me just out of nowhere. And I started to cry. And if you've ever had a spiritual download, then, it may not be as life-changing or just as dramatic as mine was, but because I had never really gotten that amount of information before, I was overwhelmed by it. I mean, I can't really tell you what exactly all came into my head at the time, but I can tell you that one of the ideas that I got was to start my own YouTube channel during that time. And if you know that I have another YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel, Holistic Flow, I started that YouTube channel first in June of 2020. So this story that I'm describing right now, this happened in May. I received like this revelation of things that I needed to do. Like I was really getting instructions on what I needed to do to, God was basically saying to me, hey, boom, I'm here. I'm wrapping my arms of love and protection around you. And now these are your instructions to go do what you got to do, because this is what your purpose is, basically. Wow, that's deep. So I realized that receiving that information and feeling this overwhelming feeling of being held and being loved and being supported, I then realized that I needed to take that information and just sink it in. So I was kind of in that corner in my room. I was kind of like stuck. I was stuck because I was in awe of what was happening. So I guess that was my first meditation session. In being silent and embracing silence and listening more than I was talking, I was unintentionally meditating. So what I describe meditation as from my meditation teacher trainings is changing your state of consciousness through using your body, your mind, or your breath. So it's changing your state of consciousness by using either your body, your mind, and your breath. So it's as simple as really me being aware of shooting this video right now, filming this video. And then I shift my consciousness or shift my awareness to, oh, there's a spider running across my wall right now. So I just changed my state of consciousness willingly. However, when you're meditating, you are doing that willingly, repetitively, over and over and over again. You are changing your state of consciousness by choosing what to focus on. My meditation was choosing to focus on silence. And through choosing to allow myself to be more silent, be on the phone less, listen to music less, my senses were being clogged a lot less than before when I had all of these distractions going on. When you have a lot of distractions in life, when you're just going, and you don't give your senses enough time to just settle down, what you're doing is you are inhibiting that two-way street of communication between you and your higher power. What's happening is it's kind of like you're having a one-way conversation. You're always doing all the talking, doing all the doing. And you're not giving yourself enough time to listen to your higher power, which is telling you, hey, this is what you need to do to progress to the next stage that I have for you. So it's like I finally was giving myself time to do that. And I wouldn't have been able to bring my awareness to do that without the isolation that happened in 2020. It wasn't my choice to be away from my friends at the time, to be away from my job at the time, which was kind of bringing me some good income as a part-time worker in school, away from my community, my club, or my extracurricular activities where I had community, a group of people I was plugged into at my university choir. And when I stopped all those things and had to come into isolation, that's when I finally gave my senses enough time to calm down and listen to what I needed to do. And it was the most refreshing thing ever. So that was the first time I meditated, and it was so unintentional. It was literally just being silent and letting information come to me. And honestly, that's how spiritual revelations or spiritual awakenings happen. You simply allow your body, allow your mind to be silent. Allow it to be as still as possible. Because we often, even in today's world, still we often just have fears that whatever we think or we want to happen isn't going to happen, and we sometimes prepare for the worst. But we have to give ourselves time, and we have to give our mind time to listen to the path of life that has already been mapped out for us, instead of trying to do everything ourselves. Because the way I see it now is half of our life we are able to make up as we go. We are able to create as we go. The other half of our life is already written in the stars for us. It's already aligned. And you can either use that as your motivation, as your strength, or you can see it as a weakness. It's your choice. However, after that experience in May of 2020, I started looking up how to meditate. I started looking up a lot of videos on YouTube, and some of the first couple people that I watched about how to meditate was Adrienne Mishler, Yoga with Adrienne. She's still on YouTube. She mostly makes yoga videos now. I also watched some meditative mind videos. I still listen to their music and their frequencies today, because they have some really good music, background music, just to ground your mind and bring your body to a more alkaline state, which is a more natural vibration. And I think I first started out by meditating 5 to 10 minutes a day, by just sitting in silence or sitting with some frequencies on, which is, if you don't know about frequencies, you can look up, Meditative Mind. I highly recommend their YouTube channel. And it's just some background meditation music to help trigger those brain waves that we often have trouble triggering by ourselves, to get us to that meditative state and allow our mind to fall into calmness. That's the same thing that I recommend for beginners, which is meditating for, at least 5 minutes a day, maybe 10 minutes a day. 7 minutes is perfectly fine. And simply allowing yourself to be in a position to listen. Just be in a position to listen. And maybe that means quieting your mind by bringing your awareness to the breath, which I kind of taught how to do in my very first video on how to meditate, which you can watch on this channel. And also, if you want to listen to some guided meditations, I have some guided meditations on a platform called Insight Timer that can help you guide if you like listening to people guide you more, or like I said, if you like to listen to just music and just guide yourself on your own, if you like that more so, I recommended the Meditative Mind. But that's how I got into meditation. And I believe that everybody's meditation journey is different, because you'll learn what you need to do for yourself in order to get to those meditative states. And there's meditation for different things: anxiety, suffering, trauma, depression, or even to just raise your mood, or even to just wake up in the morning, or to go to sleep. So again, if you all want to suggest any videos specifically that you want to see from me, just send me a comment down below. I would love to hear any suggestions, because I have a whole lot of videos planned on that I plan on filming for you all. And in between that, I may forget a couple of details. So if you want me to go more into detail about something specific, or if you have a question from this video that you want me to make a whole separate video about, I'll definitely do that. But until then, you can again visit my Insight Timer link. And then also, if you want to learn how to become a meditation teacher, or if you just want to strengthen your own meditation practice, or even start your own meditation practice, and you simply don't know where to start, also, I have a link for the meditation teacher training that I went to. It's a non-dogmatic practice as well, non-discriminatory, open to all ages, ethnic backgrounds, gender identities, etc. And so that link will be below as well. Check them out. And then also you can follow me on Instagram, on my business Instagram, and then also on my personal one. I'll leave that below as well. If you want to explore one-on-one mindfulness coaching or one-on-one meditation sessions, again, link down below. Everything is linked down below. I got y'all. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Namaste. Have a great rest of your day.